Andy Friedman. My God, this guy, yes, he's an artist. Yes, he's been published in all the things you've read in New Yorker. Yes, he's got the top set. You know, he does that. Yes, he's a baseball fan and lover, aficionado.
Well, I'm Andy Friedman, and I'm excited to be performing here. It's my first time playing in Brooklyn or in the city or even on a stage in over a decade.
I miss being broken.
Well, before I was traveling around exhibiting my paintings on little 2.5 by 3.5 inches of cardboard, I was making little paperback books that you could put in your back pocket, and they were they were my pencil drawings and Polaroid photos and some paintings and some poetry. And I ran around the country for 3 years with a slide projector, and those images and the words in the book were the kind of lyrics, as I call them, to the pictures. And I'd go up on a stage like this, or at a dive bar, or a college bar, or a bowling alley, barns, basements, railroad stations. I mean, I did this everywhere. I was called the slideshow poet, and I would accompany my projections of my visual art with lyrics. It wasn't literal. It wasn't a talk about the pictures. It was poetry. And after doing that for about 3 years, I discovered Hank Williams' Luke the Drifter, where he offered spoken word stories and poems and parables with the accompaniment of his backing band, the Drifting Cowboys. And I thought having a musical element to this offering might make it a little easier for the audience to be invited in. Sometimes I'd clear out rooms just for setting up a slide projector. So having a band sounded less lonely and like more fun. And it was fun. And then I kind of started chanting my lyrics, and then one of the band members suggested that I learn a couple of chords on the guitar. I was about 30 years old at this point. I'd never strummed a guitar. I'd never sang. I learned 3 chords, started strumming along, you know, and then I started kind of getting into it, still without realizing that I was making any music, until someone said, you know, those pictures are distracting us from your songs. And I'd never even thought that I made songs, but I thought, interesting way to make a painting with words and music instead of pictures and music, and it's projected inside the minds of the listener. And so I dropped the slide act and tricked myself into becoming a musician, I guess. I put out my first record less than a year after I learned guitar, and I never sang a note in my life really into a microphone in a recording studio until the red light was on in the studio. And did that for another 3 albums.
Counting fingertips of winter trees, busting memories like stone. I miss being broken. I miss being low.
Well, I was a pretty busy editorial illustrator. I did caricatures, you know, of celebrities, politicians, sports, you know, athletes, actors, actresses, cultural luminaries for every magazine and newspaper you could think of.
On Lonely Avenue.
I could have been content to just do that and stay home, but that was never my calling. That was bread and butter. And in order to keep my fine art side of my identity up, which at this point had morphed into music, I had to illustrate on the road. So I would bring my scanners and projector, drafting tables, everything, computers, everything you need to draw the President of the United States on the cover of the Times in a motel room, you know, after getting into the hotel at 3 in the morning.
Say entrance, or does it say entrance? Nice days ain't about the weather, the cattle rain dance. You know, some gurus don't give their souls to the lambs.
Waking up 3 or 4 hours later, squeezing in a quick, you know, illustration of someone who'd probably see it on the cover of some magazine, you know, with a bad headache before an 8-hour drive, and doing it again 2 weeks at a time, times about 8 years, I kind of broke, and I got some repetitive stress injuries, got carpal tunnel in both my hands, and I had to kind of figure out a new way to draw. As a classically trained painter of Renaissance techniques, I had never explored what I explored as a musician, which is sort of embracing vulnerability. I was always a perfectionist, and now I didn't have the ability to be a perfectionist. So I had to learn how to adapt, essentially I was a fastball pitcher, and I learned how to throw a knuckleball.
I'll tell you why, me in New England could never get it right. There's a little country store 5 miles past the light. It's more expensive than Brooklyn. Oh, come on now, that's not the way it goes.
And to kind of figure out a new style of drawing, I did what I did when I was a kid, started drawing baseball cards again. I wrote a illustrated essay for the New Yorker's website called The Loneliness of the Common Player, which sort of explained my relationship with drawing essentially lesser known shoebox type of players and cards. This was around the time of Project 70, and Topps was reaching out to artists to reimagine iconic cards from their 70 years of history. And my good friend Scott Rogowski, who's presenting tonight and introducing us, introduced me to the folks at Topps, and they said, "We'd love to have Andy do one of these. Andy, which one of the iconic cards would you like to paint?" And I said, you know, I'd actually rather paint, you know, Lee Mazzilli, 1979. And they loved that idea so much they gave me my own set. It's called Spotlight 70.
To Colorado, I wanna get back to Mexico. I wanna get back, I wanna go, wanna get back, wanna get back, wanna get back.
Then everything, you know, one thing after another happened, and, you know, now I just released my 4th set of painted baseball cards. In the meantime, I miss music, I miss performing. Haven't done it in a long time.
Guys, it is time for the man of the hour, the man you came to see and support. One of my best friends in the whole wide world, one of the best to ever do it on all sides of the ball, Andy Friedman.
Quit my job so I can hunt a cow. I'm a road tripping daddy, river I please.
I mean, in last year's set, Topps issued 2 short-printed variants of my old tour posters, and that was fun. And collectors started to maybe suggest an interest in whether I'd ever play again. And I felt encouraged, but it was also coming from inside, something I really wanted to do, and so here I am.
We are here showcasing some of the best artwork in the hobby. This is Andy Friedman. You know and love him as a New Yorker cartoonist, as a musical artist, and as a Topps artist. These are all hand-drawn, one-of-one paintings of famous sports cards, famous pop culture references, Star Wars, baseball, some of his cartoon work.
The good folks at Bleecker Trading are here, sort of presenting this evening. It's the first time we're doing anything like this, and yeah, we issued physical tickets, limited edition physical tickets. The first 25 in the door get a limited variant, numbered to 25. There will be a ticket signing after the concert next door at Jalopy Tavern, and Bleecker will oversee a mini pop-up card show. They'll have a case of their own stuff, and I'll have a little mini retrospective of my own Topps work and my non-Topps stuff. You know, I also just paint all kinds of cards, and so that's out there too.
After I get there, it creeps in slowly. I miss the lone.
I'm always painting, always thinking about the next set, doing some recording, getting back into oil painting. All these things just keep going.
It's pretty good to be Andy right now, isn't it?
I'm having a good time.
Thank you so much.